Hi, this is Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com, right back here on WagerTalk TV with a preview of the Air Force Navy game this Saturday afternoon at 12 noon Eastern on CBS. I'm going to let you know the best way to play both the side and total and make some money in this Battle of the Military Academies on Saturday. If you're finding this useful, give it a thumbs up, like the video, and also don't forget to comment below. Let me know your thoughts on this game between Air Force and Navy on Saturday and your other best bets as well in college football this week. Well, let's look at this game. Air Force coming off a huge win last week against Wyoming. They trailed early, got in the lead second half, tied it up, and then pulled ahead eventually and won. In fact, Wyoming was going to go ahead with an extra point, which was blocked. 27-all. Air Force gets the late touchdown to win 34-27, and they're now in the top 25 after being unranked all season. And don't look now, they're one of only 9 undefeated teams in college football. The top 7 teams in the polls are undefeated, and you've got North Carolina and then Air Force at 22nd. As the only other undefeated teams this season. So needless to say, a great season so far for Air Force. But this could be a dangerous spot for them. On the surface, they're a double-digit favorite because they're the better team on both sides of the ball. But they're now having to travel cross-country after a very emotional win and take on a dangerous underdog. Navy's, over the years, has always been an excellent underdog. For decades now, almost a 60% play on the blind when getting points, and that's because they run the ball and they played a disciplined service-style attack. These games have also been very low scoring under the years, which also makes Navy a live dog catching double digits, and the fact that they're a rival home dog on top of that. Let's not forget that the under has been money in the bank in all military games for decades now. In fact, the Army-Navy game, what was it, I believe 13 straight unders. Then last year they priced it so low that it finally went over the total. The Army-Navy game last December was 32, and it landed on 37. It had been as high as the 50s just a few years ago. So the odds makers are catching on to the fact that these games are low scoring, and we saw that with the early line move this week. This line opened 38, was quickly bet down to 37.5, and the key number of 37 as we check the WagerTalk live odds screen. And don't forget, Air Force opened as about a 9.5-point favorite. Quickly was bet up to 11.5 by Monday afternoon. So I do think there's a little bit of value now at 11.5 with Navy as a big double-digit home dog. And also, you have to lean under until we see otherwise. And the reason the under continues to work in Army, Navy, and Air Force matchups is because all the teams run the triple option. They run the ball basically every play, and they both know how to defend the option. And that is something we've seen play out year in and year out. As I mentioned that the Army-Navy games had gone under for a decade straight, the odds makers finally started to price the total lower. But if you look at this total of 37 or higher, and by the way, 37 is a very key number. Most of the recent meetings in all these series, the military series, have stayed under. Last year, against Army, Air Force wins 13-7, and in this game against Navy at home last year, they win 13-10 despite being a 14-point favorite. The year before they go into Navy, they did have an impressive win, but even that was only 23-3, would have stayed under this total easily. And the Army game 2 years ago, they lost 21-14. Even going back to 2020, the Army game was a 7-10 loss, 10-7 loss for Air Force, but they did beat Navy 40-7. The only reason that game went over is because Air Force scored so many points. It's very hard to find any games the last 3 or 4 years in which both teams put up some offense. In fact, you got to go back all the way to 2019. The Army Air Force game was 17-13, but the Navy game was higher scoring in that one, 34-25. But I don't think that'll be the case this year. These are two really good defensive teams against the run. In fact, last year, both Navy and Air Force rather gave up less than 100 rushing yards per game. This year, Air Force is just as strong, allowing just 79 rushing yards a game, 2.9 yards per carry. Now, Navy has been weaker this year. They're giving up 148 rushing yards, 4.1 yards per carry, but they've played some decent teams that average 4.2 and 150 yards. I do think Navy's down a notch this year, but once again, this looks like an overreaction based on the early line move. And at 11.5 now, I do think there's some value with the home dog, especially if it's a low-scoring game. Navy has gone under in 4 of their 6 games this year. And by the way, interesting stat here, Navy starts the first game and finishes the last game of the regular season. They played the Ireland game against Notre Dame back in August in week 0, and they'll play the last regular season game on December 9th against Army. So it's a long, stretched-out 12-game season for Navy, but they did have a bye a couple weeks ago, and meanwhile, they've looked pretty good their last 2 games, winning against both North Texas and Charlotte, so it looks like they're rounded into some decent form under first-year head coach Newberry, who was the defensive coordinator last year for Navy. So once again, take a look at Navy and the under. I think they're both correlated. A low-scoring game obviously would favor the double-digit home dog. So Navy and the under would be my recommendation on how to play this game on Saturday when it kicks off at 12 noon Eastern on CBS. Let me know your thoughts on this game in the comments below. Also, thumbs up like if you found this video useful. And don't forget to hit subscribe and hit that bell for instant alerts so you'll find out right away when my college football top 25 and NFL Fade the Public videos go live later this week here on WagerTalk TV. And if you'd like my personal best bets, check out my page each and every day at WagerTalk.com. Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com. Get my personal best bets for both college football, pro football, baseball playoffs, and don't forget about basketball. The NBA regular season starts next week. What a fantastic time to be an all-sports client. And I've got 3 special offers, a 1 week, a 1 month, and a 1 year all-sports, all-access special offers for you with promo codes on my page right now at WagerTalk.com. Get 7 days for $69 with promo code PASS7, PASS7. Get 30 days for $199. No promo code needed. It's on my page right now. Or the best deal, a 1-year all-sports, all-access subscription for just $99 a month with promo code SM365. Full details and those promo codes, once again, can be found on my page so you can start winning right away. Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com. And don't forget, free plays are posted there as well. Hey, thanks for watching. Hope you found this video useful. And be sure to stay tuned right here on WagerTalk TV for more great college football preview videos coming up next.